Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. My name is Becky and today we are actually going to spend the day out in the garden, but it was pretty windy out there, so I figured I'd come inside, tell you what we're going to do, and then we'll go out there and actually do our project. Today is October 31st of 2020 and we are getting ready to plant our garlic for 2022's garden, which is pretty exciting. When you're planting garlic, you want to plant it in the fall while the ground is still workable, and you want to have a few weeks of growing left before the ground gets too cold so that it can start producing roots at the bottom. And then what happens is that the garlic gets super cold, it goes dormant, and it stratifies. I think that's the correct term, which basically something happens in the clove which tells the garlic clove to break up into different cloves, which will give you an entire garlic head. So if you plant them in the spring, you actually have to stick the garlic in the refrigerator for a certain amount of time, and it's super tricky to get your garlic to stratify, I think. So the best practice is to plant them in the fall. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna plant this garlic out in one of our beds out there. The bed has not been touched in a few weeks. It's been super rainy around here. So I actually haven't been out in the garden for about 2.5 weeks. So I'm pretty excited to get out there and get my hands dirty. We have a couple different varieties of garlic. I've chosen this year to do only soft neck garlic. There's two main varieties of garlic. There's soft neck and hard neck, and the difference is hard neck garlic actually is very stiff. The actual stem of the garlic is stiff, and it creates a garlic scape, which is actually the flowering part of the garlic, and that is edible. This is a soft neck variety. The actual neck of the garlic is really soft and you can braid it. Hard neck variety, you can't braid, it's super stiff. I've chosen this year to only plant soft neck varieties because they are more shelf stable for longer periods of time than hard neck varieties. Because I don't have a prime location to store my garlic, I just store it in my walk-in pantry that is not like root cellar temperatures, or I don't have a basement or anything like that. My goal is to try to have something that's going to be as shelf stable as long as possible. Something super cool that I'm going to be doing this year is I'm going to be planting this Susanville soft neck garlic variety. This is the garlic that I grew last year, and you can actually, when you grow your own garlic, you can take a head of garlic that you grew, break it apart and plant it, and it can keep perpetuating itself so that you can actually get free garlic every year once you grow it the first time and buy it the first time. The varieties of garlic that I'm planting this year, and we're planting over 576 heads of garlic, are the Susanville soft neck varieties, some elephant garlic. This is garlic that I planted last year, and so this is my own seed garlic as well. And then the varieties that I purchased this year is I was a little late to the purchasing game, and so I just bought what I could. I didn't have very much of a choice because garlic sells out pretty quickly. I purchased Extra Select, Early Italian, Pink Chinese, and Silver Rose. So those are the 4 varieties that I purchased. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my garlic and I'm actually just gonna separate the cloves. I wanna leave the paper on there, that's actually a protective coating. Can you see the size difference in these cloves of garlic? Both of these cloves came off the same head of garlic. I am gonna only plant the larger one, so I'm going through and I'm picking out the large cloves. Garlic is one of these funny plants where the size of the garlic clove directly indicates the size of the head of garlic you're gonna get. It stores all its energy to grow the head of garlic right in this clove of garlic. So a larger clove of garlic is gonna produce a much larger head of garlic than a small clove of garlic will. And that's just because the amount of energy it has to actually produce the final size of the garlic head. Even if you fertilize it a ton, it still will only get as big as the original clove of garlic allows it to get. You might have a healthier, stronger plant, but the actual finished size of the head of garlic will not change. I am not gonna waste these. These are gonna be chopped up and I'm gonna preserve them, but I don't want to waste my garden space on growing a small head of garlic. I did purchase seed garlic, and you might be asking yourself, you just explained that you just take a clove of garlic, plant it in the ground, and it grows. Why do I need to buy seed garlic? Is there something special about seed garlic as opposed to just garlic that you would buy at the grocery store or garlic that you grew previous years like I did here? Well, there really is not a difference. The main difference is that when it's called seed garlic, it means that it's been certified that it doesn't carry any viruses or diseases, and the viruses live in the soil. The biggest risk about that is you could just introduce viruses into your soil, which, you know, you don't really want to do. And so cool thing about garlic though is once you have grown it one time, it perpetuates itself and you don't have to purchase it again. I only did because I wanted to try a couple different varieties. I'm super happy with the Susanville variety, but I want to try a couple different ones, and that's why I went ahead and purchased seed garlic this year. The ones I'm doing right now are the Silver Rose, and these garlic cloves are really small just in general. My goal with my garlic is to have as big of cloves as possible, and that is because that's the easiest to cook with. Peeling garlic, I mean, let's be real, it's sometimes annoying, and that's why we don't always use it. even though fresh garlic I think tastes better, even me, sometimes I just don't feel like peeling garlic. So I'm really trying to just pick out the largest ones because I know that when it comes to peeling garlic, if I'm gonna be cooking dinner, I'm way less likely to want to sit down and peel garlic that is this small as opposed to my Susanville. So that is why I'm spending so much time going through and choosing which garlic cloves I actually want to use, because in the end product, when I bring it into the kitchen, which is the ultimate goal, is to cook with this garlic, I want my life to be easy. And these long, skinny garlic cloves are going to be a pain in the tushy to peel. These are crazy small. So Silver Rose, not my favorite. That is just something to note. Because I'm like not gonna plant half of the garlic that I bought on that one because of that. I am gonna plant some of my elephant garlic that I grew last year as well. Look how big these cloves are. That's one clove of garlic. Elephant garlic is actually in the leek family. It's not actually technically garlic, but I think it's super fun how big these cloves are. They have a much more mild garlic flavor. They're not quite as strong. All right, we got all of our garlic prepped and ready to go, and now the real work begins. We've got a 16 by 4 foot raised bed. We're gonna clean everything out. I'm gonna amend it with heavy composted horse manure, and then we're gonna get the garlic planted. One thing I forgot to do is I don't want to pull the whole plant out like I did like this, because you can see all those roots that came out with it. I actually want all that root material left in the ground so it can decompose and create more organic material in the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shears and I'm going to shear right at soil level, and I'm going to take the plant part off and the roots can decompose in the soil. There are carrots in this ground. I forgot that I need to harvest all the carrots. So we're not only gonna plant, but we're gonna harvest carrots too. There's things like blackberries in here that need to come out. These ones I want to try to get as much of the roots out as possible.
I have to say it felt so good to get outside. It had been way too long since I'd been out there, and being out there in the garden is definitely some therapy for me. My chickens now are basically free ranging anytime I'm home, and I enjoy having them hang out with me while I'm out in the garden. During the growing season, they have to be in their coop most of the time because I don't want them getting into my garden produce. But at this point, anything that's out there is fair game for them, so I just enjoy their company while I'm working. I also decided to clean up some of the zinnias that were next to my tomato trellises here, and I wanted to get those out of the ground as well. I do need to get to all the beds and put all the beds away for the winter, but today we're just working on the garlic. I'm taking all the yard waste that I just cleaned out of this bed, and I'm actually going to put this in my yard debris. I don't know enough yet about composting to do hot composting, and most of the stuff in this wheelbarrow is weeds, tomato plants, and zinnias. And I'm not worried about the zinnias, but the tomato plants and weeds, because I don't know how to hot compost or how to compost well enough, I'm worried about disease because tomato plants can carry disease. So I've decided just to put those in the yard debris. Back behind my shop, we have a big pile of horse manure. We have a family friend that actually drops it off at our house, and it's been sitting there now for about 2 years almost. And I am going to top dress this bed with a good 2 to 3 inches of horse manure just to add some extra nutrients and to bulk up the bed. Over the years, your raised beds actually start to shrink the soil in it. It compresses basically, and so I want to continue every year to work on building my soil, building the life in the soil. There are so many worms and bugs and grubs and different things in the soil. That is why my chickens are hanging out with me, because it's an all-you-can-eat bug buffet.
All right, friends, it is now time to finally get the garlic in the ground, and I'm going to use my seeding square. I love this thing. I'm going to link it down below. If you guys don't have one, I'd highly recommend it. If you look on the packaging or directions on how to plant garlic, it says to plant every 6 inches. I didn't do that last year. I planted every 4 inches, and I have a whole video on my harvest, and my garlic did fantastic. I don't feel like my garlic was stunted at all because I planted them closer together. This bed is very rich in nutrients, and I feel like it can handle that close of spacing. Because I'm going to do every 4 inches, that means I'm going to use the yellow dots on my seeding square. That is 9 garlic cloves per square foot. So that means I'm going to be planting, if I do my math correctly, 576 garlic cloves in this bed. This bed is a 14-foot by 16-foot bed, so there's 64 square feet in this bed. So 9 times 64 is 576, I believe, but I might be wrong on that. When you're planting garlic, you do want to make sure you plant them in the right orientation. The pointy end goes up, the root end goes down.
The method of gardening I do in my raised beds is mostly square foot gardening, and that's a high intensity planting gardening. Basically, it means that you can plant your seeds closer together because the nutrients in a raised bed typically is more rich than in ground gardening. And I really like this seeding square because it's a hard plastic and it marks 1 foot by 1 foot, and it has the different markings for different plantings depending on what you're planting. I used to use a cardboard box and I would mark it and I would use it and it would break apart. So every time I wanted to plant, I would have to make a new cardboard box, cut out, and that probably took me 15 minutes or so every single time I planted because I do not usually put things away always where they need to go, and so the cardboard cutout would end up in the garden and get rained on and kind of fall apart. So this seeding square, it's very affordable and it saves me a ton of time because every time I come out to plant, I can just grab my seeding square and I can go from there. If you're interested in square foot gardening, I can leave a link to a book that I read that was really helpful for me when it comes to square foot gardening and intensive gardening. So that will be linked down in the description box if you want to check that out.
No. I'm going to use my new, I don't know what this is even called. One of you guys sent this to me, and it's like a knife slash shovel slash, I don't know, but I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be perfect to move the soil to plant this elephant garlic. Now we're going to plant the Chinese pink garlic. This is going to be my divider for now between what garlic I have planted where. I only got 36 of the Chinese pink garlic. So I just grabbed some of these rods that I was trellising up tomatoes with and I'm putting it here. So that was only 4 square feet. So I have these here separating my row, and then I just took the label of what it is, I stabbed it, and I just stuck it right here. So I am gonna make some permanent markers of what my garlic is, but for now that's gonna have to do. The next one we're gonna do extra select. The next one we're planting is the early Italian. This garlic is not going as far as I thought it was going to. Last but not least, we're gonna plant the silver rose. So we have from here all the way to there planted. This last 3 feet right here are a random assortment of whatever I had left in the basket. And from here down, I don't have any garlic to plant in there out here. So I'm gonna run inside and I think I am gonna figure out which garlic I have left that I could plant because I do want one entire bed filled with garlic. That's what I did last year and I'm happy with that amount. So I might grab some of the hardneck varieties. Just depends on what I have a lot of and what are the biggest cloves. So I'm inside where I store my garlic and I'm gonna get some more garlic. I'm gonna try to figure out what I wanna plant next. Here's my basket of mostly hardneck varieties. You can see how much smaller the heads are compared to my Susanville. This is what I've been planting. So I think we have enough garlic. I found this many hardneck garlics that were pretty good sized cloves. I think these are the Music and these are the Chenoit. I'm not exactly sure because they did get mixed up when I was harvesting them. The reason I am trying to be picky about the size of garlic cloves is because what I'm trying to avoid are these teeny tiny garlic heads. I planted every single garlic clove last year, not being selective on size or anything, and that is why I ended up with some of these itty bitty tiny heads. I planted garlic cloves that were this size as opposed to this size. These are the same garlic varieties, and you can see how this is going to create a way bigger head of garlic than this will. And I really don't want garlic heads this small. So when I eventually go to peel and use this in a dish or to preserve it, this is going to be a pain to peel. And then I did find some more of the Susanville that were pretty decent sized garlic cloves. So let's go back outside and finish this project before it gets dark because it is 4:22 and it gets dark really early nowadays. So I will see you back out there. I just got the hardneck varieties planted, and then now in here I have all the soft neck that I still don't know if I have enough garlic to finish this whole bed out. I might have to go inside and get more. So we still only got to right here. I have 2 more feet that I could plant garlic in. So now I have to sit here and think about, am I gonna go run inside and get more garlic? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plant these really large elephant garlic here, and then I'm gonna save that little bit for flowers next year, I think. Don't hold me to it, because I might change my mind in 5 minutes. I've decided I'm going to run inside, get enough garlic for this 1 foot here, and I'm going to leave the last 6 inches for flowers for next year. So I'll be right back and we'll get this project finished. All right, I think I have enough garlic in here now. I better have enough garlic in here. All right, so my goal every year is to be a really organized gardener and to know exactly what I planted and where I planted it. But 2020 is off to a rocky start because there is a bunch of different garlics in here and I don't know what is what. So we can only try to do better, but yeah. We did it. We planted this entire bed out with garlic. Now, if you guys are new around here, I've been talking about doing a container garden where we're gonna see how much we can grow in small spaces. I had a couple of these pots here that I grew some green beans, ooh, there's a slug, green beans in last year. And I thought, you know what, since I'm planting garlic right now, and now I have a couple extra garlic cloves in my apron, let's try planting some garlic in these pots and see what happens. This is officially going to start the container garden project. I think I'm going to put 3 garlic cloves in this one. I have no idea if this is going to work because these are pots and they're not in ground. So over winter, I don't know, but we're going to give it a try. I think I'm going to put 4 garlic cloves in this one. I have 1 more container here. This is a long, skinny one. See, I don't really know what I'm doing, but let's experiment together and figure out if it works. I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put 5 in this one. This is fun. I'm excited about this. I'm going to put these around the garlic bed so we know these 3 pots are garlic. I think I have a little bit of time before it gets dark. I want to cover this whole bed in leaves. I didn't think I was going to get to it before it got dark, but we're going to go fast. We're going to start raking up some leaves to put on here. Before I cover this up in leaves, I want to document this is Susanville with some elephant garlic, Chinese pink, extra select, early Italian, silver rose, more Susanville, hardneck, which is music, and Chenowick, I believe, more elephant garlic, and then more random, I don't know. And I'm not sure what garlic is in the containers, but I think it's a soft neck variety. We did it, friends. We did it. We got 2022's garlic planted. We got it covered, and this is it. This is the beginning of garden season 2022, and I'm stoked. I am ready for garden season 2021 to be over. I am getting a little bit tired. It is a lot of work doing gardening. Now, we got 1 bed cleaned up and ready for next year. The last big project I need to do out here is basically how I cleaned up this bed. I need to do that to the rest of the garden. That's gonna be a huge project. You know what I might do when I need to do that? I might see if I can find a day when my dad can come over and help me and we can do it together and try to get all the beds put to bed at the same time, because looking around here, whew, that's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. The reason I haven't really stressed about doing it yet is because I need mulch, I need leaves to go over every single one of these beds, and I have 16 of them, and they're 4 feet, and they're 16 by 4 feet. That's a lot of leaves I need. I'm waiting for my neighbors and my leaves to fall actually before I do this project, because I'm going to take all those leaves and put everything to bed. So it is actually better that my beds have something on them before I rip everything out, because weeds will grow even in this temperature, and so I just need to wait till the leaves are ready to be put on the bed. So isn't that so pretty? I don't know what kind of leaf this is, but these don't break down very well, but it will be good protection. As soon as these garlics start growing in the spring, I'll take these leaves up and then I'll compost them somewhere else. But I can definitely tell from last year, watching the different trees and the different leaves, some leaves compost a lot better, and I actually didn't even need to take them up off the beds because they had broken down so much over the winter. But I'm excited, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as we got all this garlic planted. I'm pretty stoked about it. I hope you guys have got your garlic in the ground. If you don't, please get it in the ground now, because this is the time to do it before the ground freezes. You want to get those garlic roots established a little bit before going into winter, and that'll give you the best results for the garlic. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anybody that would enjoy this video, please consider sharing it with them. If you're new around here, there are videos that will pop up here, and you can go check those out if you're interested. Or if you want to see what I have coming up, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.